We've got the latest from downrange. NATO forces in Afghanistan have new contingency plans for the flight line. We'll tell you why. And the Afghan army is getting some new threads. Check out what they look like and why they're so special. Plus, troops downrange do their share of heavy lifting, but we'll show you one mission that's all about muscle. All this and more from troops on the ground, downrange. Hello and welcome. I'm Staff Sergeant Josh Hauser. Over a 72-hour span, security forces at Kandahar Airfield have responded to a deadly crash that killed 16 civilians, an indirect fire attack, a British aircraft crash, and a mine explosion which seriously wounded a bystander. Marine Sergeant Ashley Bryan explains a new program that is helping to focus the international efforts of those first responders to help facilitate the needs of contingency operations.
On one of the busiest flight lines in the world, it's inevitable that accidents will sometimes happen. But first to respond to this and several other major incidents on the Kandahar flight line over the past week were NATO security forces under a newly implemented directive that changes the way they execute contingency operations.
Prior to the NATO flight line security program coming online, we had totally uncontrolled access to the flight line. We had individuals that were on the flight line that did not need to be there. We had excessive incursions on safety incursions on the flight line, and when we had emergency response, we had an inability to effectively cordon off the area, evacuate personnel, and facilitate the entry of emergency personnel to the site.
The program came fully online July 15th, but within the first 3 months of phase-in, security forces had already decreased safety incursions by more than 99%.
Aspirations of the program are for it to be adopted by NATO as a single directive for contingency operations securities. If this is adopted by NATO as that single directive, then we will have already touched all the nations that we need to touch, because it will be how NATO conducts contingency security operations.
One of the best features of the program is its universality. If it can be applied at this major air hub, it can be applied almost anywhere.
It can be picked up, put in any area of operation, and we can take any personnel from any nation that's assigned to NATO and already know how we're going to go in there and secure their assets.
Since inception, the team has responded to 20 indirect fire attacks and 5 major aircraft incidents. Marine Sergeant Ashley Bryant, Kandahar Airfield, Afghanistan.
Military officials say the upcoming elections in Afghanistan have triggered an increase in insurgent attacks. Airman First Class Jonathan Porter has more.
Afghan security forces have confirmed insurgents disguised themselves as women during recent suicide attacks. The attacks met with little success. Regional Command East spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Clarence Counts says these types of incidents are related to upcoming elections.
They're definitely trying to strike some fear and intimidation against the Afghan populace for the upcoming elections. We're building things, trying to get the government going, and really all they're doing is causing the civilian casualties.
Afghan forces have strengthened checkpoints around the areas of attack and continue to search for insurgents. For the Pentagon Channel, I'm Airman First Class Jonathan Porter.
Defense Secretary Robert Gates met with Iraq's Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki Thursday afternoon at the Pentagon. Officials say the two discussed the future of the U.S.-Iraqi security relationship, including how the U.S. can help the Iraqi security forces grow in size and capability. Pentagon spokesman Jeff Morrell said the secretary acknowledged the current method for providing equipment to Iraqi forces is too slow and needs to be streamlined. The secretary and prime minister also talked about the progress that's been made in Iraq over the last few years. An example of that progress can be seen on the flight lines. Specialist Abby Cayenne explains how the Iraqis are taking their responsibilities to new heights.
The engines have started and the pilots are at the controls. The Iraqis are the lead here with their American advisors by their side.
Tonight we're just doing training for one of the Iraqi pilots, and we are moving people back to Baghdad. This is an Mi-17. It's a Russian-built aircraft, and the Iraqis use it for transport. They do transportation of people. They can carry cargo. They also have a medevac mission as well.
The advisors are on this training mission, but that is no longer the norm.
Basically, we're here to advise them. We go out and fly with them, train them on how to call a helicopter into an LZ. We teach them basic airmanship, such as calling out air traffic, how to fly on night vision goggles. They're pretty self-sufficient at this point. We only step in when they need our help, and we try to let them fly all of their missions. And with the training that we have given them, they shouldn't have any problems, keeping their Air Force running as long as they stick to the things that we have taught them. So.
In Iraq, when you hear the choppers coming and flying overhead, it may be the Iraqis in their Mi-17s. Reporting from Taji, Iraq, I'm Specialist Abby Kayani.
Now, civil engineering airmen at Joint Base Balad are frequently tasked to do utility repairs, which typically lead to interrupted service for the residents there. Staff Sergeant Jeffrey Foster tells us how the engineers prevent those interruptions on the base's most precious utilities, the water lines.
These civil engineering airmen are braving the hot weather, repairing one of the water lines that supplies Joint Base Balad residents with their most valuable resource.
I feel morale is one of the key issues, and water is life. So if we can't provide them water so they can go to the bathroom, so they can take showers and things like that, then that's morale's going to go from there, and then from there the mission's going to degrade because people are going to be focused on what's going on in their personal lives off duty.
The original water line was only 6 inches underground, which made it vulnerable to damage from heavy vehicles. The new pipe will be placed deeper to prevent rolling vehicle damage.
It's just going to ensure that they have a consistent water flow. It's going to be safe, and we're not going to have to be out here consistently replacing parts and putting on clamps.
After 11 hours of work, these airmen could call this job complete. Just one more successful example of the type of base and quality of life improvements happening daily here. Staff Sergeant Jeff Foster, Joint Base Balad, Iraq.
Afghan tailoring workshops have received orders for 20,000 new uniforms, and it's impacting the local economy. Staff Sergeant Mark Bell has more.
The AWFL warehouse in Kabul, Afghanistan, employs hundreds of Afghan tailors. These men and women, armed with thousands of yards of material, are shaping the new look for the Afghan National Army.
This is a landmark activity for the Afghan National Army in that they are producing a new uniform with a design that is specific to Afghanistan, which will also mean that it will be difficult for foreign forces or for other countries to produce the same uniform.
It also means that there will be less confusion on the battlefield because they have developed a pattern that is distinctly their own. They will wear this uniform made in Afghanistan by Afghans with pride.
This is a type of service for my people and my country to be able to make these uniforms.
These new uniforms not only make an impact on the battlefield, they make an impact on the local economy.
It is a very important work for us. They gave us good salary so we can support our families. Since I have been starting working here, I can support my family and we are living a better life.
Aside from this factory, there are 3 other factories in Afghanistan providing these necessary services and employing Afghans. These factories have good working environments with good benefits.
This workshop treats us better than any other place that I have been working in Afghanistan.
For the Combined Security Transition Command Afghanistan, I'm Air Force Sergeant Mark Bell.
Coming up on Downrange, the Air Force brings some rock and roll to their fellow troops downrange and talk about how heavy these soldiers are using everything they've got to get these weights off the ground. All this and more next.
And now the end is near. I did what I had to do. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway. Yes, there were times when I bit off more than I could chew. I faced it all, and I stood tall, and did it my way.
1
Back over here. Liv. Get inside the freaking tent. What are you doing? Hello!
Practice.
Let's go.
Can't get more real.
If we screw up, we're dead out here.
Our team is getting closer.
It's a journey. It's a new adventure.
Recon the Beast.
Welcome back. The Air Force Band surprised troops in Tallil, Iraq when it showed up to perform. Army Staff Sergeant Crystal Cook has the details.
Being deployed doesn't mean you can't have fun. Service members at Contingency Operating Base Adder got a nice surprise when the Air Force Band Sonora showed up to play. The band started off their Iraq tour in Basra and will make their way around Iraq in the next couple of weeks. Staff Sergeant Joey Miller, the drummer for the band, says they enjoy traveling around and meeting new people.
I wouldn't even know where to start. I mean, it's just been so amazing. We've just run into so many just amazing, just different people. It's, you know, it's like these people, you watch the news and you think, you know, they're just, you know, soldiers, they're robots. But you get here and it's like they're, you know, they're people, and, you know, they have their own personalities, and, you know, everybody, they want to be here, serve their country, and, you know, they want to get home. So we're just trying to help speed up that process, hopefully for them. You know, if they're thinking, oh man, I'm not going to make it, you know, maybe they come hear our concert and be like, it reminds them of home. They're like, you know what, I can make it 2 more months.
At first, service members were a little shy about getting up and moving to the music. But after a few sets, they got out on the dance floor. After working long days, and for some in the hot sun, coming to the Morale and Welfare Auditorium is a chance to relax and be with friends.
Oh, it's a kick. I mean, just, it's funny because the shows that we do always start out kind of slow, nobody wants to get up, but by halfway through, people are dancing and singing and just having a great time.
Miller says they love being able to put a smile on people's faces with their music.
I am honored to be able to, you know, just come and just make, you know, give people a couple hours of home, just relaxation, watching them smile, watching them have a good time, because I know how tough it is out here.
Reporting from Tallil, I'm Army Staff Sergeant Crystal Cook.
Physical fitness is a cornerstone of life in the military. Army Private Christian Young shows us what can happen when service members get together. Often leads to a little friendly competition.
Competitors participated in a powerlifting competition held at FOB Prosperity, the second of its kind. Powerlifting includes 3 events: the squat, bench press, and deadlift.
I enjoy the squat the best. It's what I feel as though I'm the strongest in.
The men competed in a 1,000-pound club and the women competed in the 300-pound club, meaning that a weightlifter has 3 events to lift a total over 1,300 pounds respectively in order to be considered part of the club.
I've been weightlifting for 10 years now.
I would say I did surprisingly well. I far exceeded what I thought I was going to do, and I ended up doing 535, so it was quite surprising.
Reporting from Baghdad, I'm Army Private Christian Young.
U.S. Forces Afghanistan hit a new milestone Thursday. Their Facebook page now has more than 20,000 fans, and they've reached this mark in less than 2 months. Fans of the page can see videos and read information about updates from the U.S. military headquarters in Kabul. If you're a fan of U.S. 4A or other military groups on Facebook, look for our very own Pentagon Channel Facebook page starting Monday. I'm Staff Sergeant Josh Hauser for everyone here at the Pentagon Channel. Thanks for watching.